So guys, Mr. Dele Farotimi has finished the National Assembly members. I mean, these people, they are here to ravage Nigeria. Don't forget that the last video I posted, I shared with you people evidence proving that the Nigerian lawmakers are the most paid. I mean, their salaries are the highest in the entire world. Nigeria came first. Nigeria, a country in Africa. It will shock you to even know that the second country on that list is Kenya. I mean Kenya. Most of the countries in the forefront are African countries. Then when you look down, considering the lawmakers that are least paid, they are from Europe and the United States. You can imagine that Africa that is said to be poor, their lawmakers receive the highest, with Nigeria leading, while the lawmakers with the least paid amount of money are from Europe. Norway, which is one of the richest countries in Europe, pays their lawmaker the least. Mr. Dele Farotimi is here to finish the Nigerian lawmakers. Take a look.
That is lacking in legitimacy. You have a judiciary that is lacking in credibility. You have a legislative house that is generally peopled by idiots, imbeciles, and crooks. And then you have a people against whom hunger has been weaponized. Yorubas have a proverb. They say, Tebiba wonu, oromi okin wo. When you translate that properly, what it actually says is that rationality ends where hunger begins. When you now have hunger unleashed against a wide swath of the population, what you will find eventually are gridlocks and chaos. My own preoccupation is to ensure that the Nigerian understand exactly who to blame for what is going on, so that he doesn't turn against his fellow victim. It is possible that you might have military adventurists coming in to cash in on the popular disaffection. But even those would inevitably be proxies and members of this ruining class. The reality is that we are gradually entering an unsustainable cycle where there is bound to be a gridlock. I am careful about what I speak to these days. That's why I've been largely quiet for some time, because I do not want to stand accused of being the one who incited a riot. I'm not interested in riots. Protests do not interest me. I am interested in a revolution that sweeps away this decadent order and hold it and every one of them to account. Let them account for the humongous stealings. Let them account for the evils they have done against the people. That interests me. Pockets of protest here and there, yeah. But they are merely, you know, when it's going to rain, you see flashes of lightning. You hear rumbles of thunder. There might even be a few scattered showers here and there. But there is a deluge coming. What will catalyze it? I have no idea.
So many times that I'm thankful for the opportunity to perhaps explain it, so that the idiots who have continued to assume that I have broken my word would be clear. I said if he won the presidency, I'll leave Nigeria on exile. So let me clear that up. For him to have won, the people would have had to have voted for him. We didn't vote for him. He stole the presidency. Yakubu and INEC sold him the presidency. The presidency is not an expression of the people's will. It is an expression of the debauchery of INEC and the height of our judicial corruption. He did not win the presidency. If I had left, I would have been sanitizing and deodorizing a skunk. If nothing else, I rise and fall by my word. And when I said that I would live on exile if this man won, it was so that people will know that I do not believe Nigerians to be depraved enough to be possessed of the idiocy to vote somebody like him into power. And they did not. Anybody who prefers to delude themselves can continue to delude themselves, but Tinubu knows, INEC knows, The judiciary knows, and so do a lot of Nigerians, that Tinubu did not win the presidency. He stole it. So I'm not leaving because he did not win. It's that simple. That I'm still here is in rebuke of him. It actually cost me a lot more to stay here. It's not just the multiple level of danger that I face on a daily basis by remaining in Nigeria. Because if they will be planning my murder 3 years ago when they were not in power, one of his goons in Lagos State was the one sat at the head of the plot to kill me. They are the ones in power now. Ordinarily, I should run now. But I'm here. I am here because he did not win. He knows it. And every man and his dog in Lagos State knows it. He was beaten resoundingly in Lagos on the 25th of February. He couldn't even make 15% in Lagos. Segun Agbaje, the INEC commissioner in Lagos State, cannot produce the form EC8A for Lagos State up till today. I was the person who was charged by the Obi legal team to collect the election material from INEC. He could not, up until today, INEC in Lagos State cannot give us the form EC8A, which is the polling unit level result. Because they know he lost. He lost woefully. He was thoroughly rejected across the length and breadth of the state that he has held hostage. For 24 years, as at that time, he lost. To how much more? The other parts of Nigeria. Let them continue fooling themselves. He has snatched it, grabbed it, but he can't run with it. And that's why we are all in the mess that we are in today. So yeah, if he had won, if Nigerians had been foolish enough to have voted for him, I would have left. It wouldn't be because of him. It would be out of protest that I could be stuck with such evil people who would have found the grace to vote for somebody like him. But as I have said, they did not vote for him. They rejected him. He has forced himself on us. And we can't do much about that. But I'm not going to legitimize his stealing by leaving. He didn't win.
Video clips. And we came across this one where Mr. President during his electioneering campaign did say he was going to reduce the capacity of the people. He was going to raise taxes. He was going to raise the purchasing power of the people. Up to this very moment, we still marvel what his intentions are. Because it looks like what is going on is a premeditated action to punish the people. It is not us who are punishing the people. It is the fundamentalists, it is the fundamentalist labor reforms of this administration.
Sir. Okay, sir. I mean, I was excited when you mentioned Paimodu. In fact, I was just looking at the newspaper portion where he was released after 2 years in incarceration, and God bless his memory. But I'd like to ask you this as we wrap up. Is it the $100 mark for minimum wage or less than that? That would be a good deal for labor?
$100, $125, $150, but certainly not anything less than $100, Dr. Bat.
Okay.
We reduce the purchasing power of the people, we can further slow down the economy. Let's widen the tax net. Those who are not paying now, if it is inclusive of Bola Tinubu, let the nets get bigger and we take in more taxes, and that is what we must do in the country instead of additional layer of taxes.
Why are we scared when we say pay a worker 1 million? When those in National Assembly are collecting 16, 17, 30 million. So why are we so discriminated if you hear 1 million for a worker? So if somebody can collect 15, 16 million for a job, not even commensurate to the job that the worker is doing, why can't a worker get 1 million? The situation whereby you need a bag full of naira to get a handful of goods. So let nobody be scared about that. Unless it is cheap, the demand will have no end. And the minimum wage, we're going to insist for the review to be annual. Or else if you collect any money and the value of the currency is changing per hour, it will not make any sense and it will be illogical, to return that amount for the next 4 or 5 years. So these are dynamics of the negotiation.
But we have a state capture. And when people are incompetent, they bring in things that they shouldn't bring in. I've been in the north, they're hungry. I've been in the southwest, they're hungry. I've been in south, they're hungry. However, the elites who have captured the system uses these things to keep us divided. If we have good governance today, where people's talent and hard work will match up the opportunity, these things will go. And we'll start loving each other. But unfortunately, where we found ourselves, this thing has to be there for a while.
This is a primary school and even a junior secondary school in one of the states in northeast Nigeria. Okay? It may interest you to know that this is the GS1 class. Am I right? Yes. This is GS1 class. And then this is what? Primary what? This is primary 4 and 5. Please come close. Let us see the building. Let us see the board. This is primary 4 and 5. And then we will go to the other classes. Please let us see the building. This is what they have as building. And then we have primary 3 and 4 here. This is primary 3 and 4. We have the primary 1 here.
Sit there. I'm telling you, it's so annoying.
All right, lastly, before I let you go, I mean, if government decides not to move away from the 60,000, will this strike continue? And do you think this strike will yield any result?
I know what make you finish your question. If they like, may they say no. Say they no go. Say may they still die for that 60,000 naira when they talk. Therefore, then they're going to say a hungry man is an angry man. And when the hunters learn to shoot without missing, so the birds learn to fly without perching. They go here and they go collect woto. Not as we do so. You get where we go do and reach now. We go they walk out for street, they destroy them, they kill themselves.
Thank you so much.
Because a hungry man is an angry man. As with the first, so my brother, as I come here this morning, so I never shop. I've been my children, they forbid to go to high school when their children they go. They go carry their children, thief our money, take carry their children, go better school. When they finish, they'll come load their children over us again. They return say, experience, do you qualify? Do you have this qualification? Qualification, kill their parents there. Qualification, kill them. Nonsense people. Huh? Nonsense idiots. You know how much senator they collect a month? Even their SS, those days we go school, say we no want be touts. Now touts be their essay and others, what they do for them. And do you know how much they collect? They collect above 300,000-400,000 naira every month. If they say we know, for just Kukuma sit down for touting. So that all of us go, they do touting.
That's all you be.
Before they do touting, then we'll come suffer, go school finish, now we'll come manage, come enter the civil service work, then they'll call the suffer us. They'll call the suffer us. So as time
wrong, I've analyzed it as a tax practitioner and a chartered tax analyst. Nigeria is on the wrong track. And we are talking about media moderation now. You are seeing a country where strategic industrial sectors are collapsing. Strategic domestic sectors are collapsing. Strategic commercial sectors are collapsing, and somebody will tell me the economy is working. The economy is not working. Okay. And we better get it right. You're talking about a country where between 1965 and 1989, the then generation of leaders that we felt were illiterate conceived the idea of having at least 4 refineries. As a practicing petroleum engineer and a gas engineer from 1990 to now 2024, you're talking about 34 good years. The generation of leaders that we have didn't deem it fit to maintain what they inherited. They didn't deem it fit to construct a single refinery. Do you expect anybody to tell you that we are going to run into energy crisis? You don't need anybody to tell you that we're going to run into energy crisis. Look at the institutional investors that are in Nigeria, especially the multinational companies. They are running away because of business climate hostilities. And somebody will tell me, with my engineering knowledge, with my accounting knowledge, that they are divesting. You can't tell me that. They are not divesting. They are running away because we are experiencing business climate hostilities. It is only in Nigeria that you see people you call leaders, they cannot tell you the difference between commercialization, privatization, liberalization, or even deregulation. This is the country we belong to. Okay. But so it's not working.
The other part of your argument I even want to make for you is that government keeps saying, how are we going to pay? How are they paying the National Assembly members that are earning big fat salaries? That they are earning millions of naira in allowances? How are they paying even the labor minister that is negotiating all our allowances? How are they paying them?
How are they paying them?
Yeah, didn't the same government...
How are they paying the councillors? How are they paying the councillors?
Didn't the same government take a supplementary budget last year to buy cars for National Assembly members? Which we all protested against.
Save me trouble.
So I'm making your argument for you. But let me tell you why I would disagree with you. Let's go to the disagreement. The disagreement is this.
Yes.
My problem with Labour is the nebulousness of your argument. Now you are saying that if they add value to the naira, you can get a reasonable amount. 494,000 looks at a reasonable amount to this 1,600 exchange rate threshold. The thing is, you were talking by fear. The thing is, it's going to hurt us if government starts to defend the naira again and pump money by fiat, because we lost about over $1 billion in our reserves. So, as we speak today, I'd like to ask you a question. What would be a fair amount at a calculation of 1,500 naira to the dollar that would be fair cost for labor? I think labor should be able to have that number in calculation based on their inflation calculation of 33%.
Thank you very much. First of all, let me say I feel honored by your act of courage, by way of speaking out in the matters of high energy rate in Ghana and all of that, and also payment of wages for political office holders. That does not hurt the economy. But before I come to your substantive question, let me say that the last time wages were reviewed for workers, it was not more than 45%. Wages were reviewed for political office holders by over 400%. And much more recently, they did a review, which they said they are yet to implement. That one is 143%. Nobody complains about that. You are acutely aware of the fact that political office holders, from councillors to anything, their wages are the same. It does not matter, the economic status of the state. They are stamped up there. And we're talking about what they take on top of the table, not what they take under the table or under the side or by the side of the table. Government does not complain about how that affects, the treasury. It is when we talk about, say, create a benchmark below which no one should be paid. Protect the vulnerable, protect the weak, so that you don't create communities of the working poor. Because poverty is infectious, and you can't cure poverty with poverty. You cure poverty with wealth. So all that is what we have been saying, that create a national minimum wage that can stimulate capacity, stimulate production, that can create synergy. That's what we've been talking about. Consequences, this country is used to consequences. So if whatever decision it takes that makes the life of Nigerians better, whatever price it pays for that will be seen as a patriotic price. That is one. Now coming to your figure, coming to a realistic figure, realistic now in quote, 60,000 is equivalent to about $37 at the present exchange rate. In the early hours of this morning, when the VOA asked me questions and I responded, they said, is it $37 per day? And I said, no, $37 for 30 days for a family of 6. That's what we're talking about here. So for me, what figure labor we consider as fair and reasonable given our situation will be a figure that can take a family of 6 home without meat. We are ready to do that too. Labour is prepared to consider what I call prison rations, but let it take a family of 6 home. You should do the mathematics for me. Thank you.
Well, Mr. Upa, one problematic thing in this whole conversation is about 1, capacity to pay, 2, productivity. Some of these workers in private companies and even in civil service who are very unproductive, you are making a case for them to also be paid. So, I mean, how do we factor these variables into it? Capacity to pay, particularly on the part of government and private sector, and also productivity on the side of the worker, which is not something that is given. However, I would like you to respond to one poser. And this is from Mr. Bayo Ononuga, spokesperson for President Tinubu, who says that Labour is taking this position about minimum wage and also, electricity tariff hike because organized labor is playing politics. That you guys are members of the Labour Party and that you are Labour Party sympathizers, whereas the election ended in 2023. What do you say to these issues?
Well, first of all, let me speak to the question of capacity. Directly speaking, FAC allocations move from 700 billion to 1.2 trillion at the moment. That is what they declared. What they failed to declare could be twice or 3 times the value of what they declared. That is 1. Then 2, you see, for you to be able to pay, you've got to take the needed decisions, the necessary decisions. Government will need to reverse some of the decisions that have made the environment very toxic. I had said in this forum before that 40% of big business has been wiped out. 30% of the next group of business gone. 60% of small businesses obliterated. And I speak with you, Barrister Abati, as I speak with you, let me tell you this. In the next couple of weeks, maximum 1 or 2 months, you'll be hearing from the joint venture side of the economy. The oil companies are divesting. Why isn't government concerned that this is happening? Why is government more concerned about going for foreign direct investment while the businesses at home are collapsing? Does government think that those people it is going after do not have intelligence on what is going on in this country? They do have. And when they even choose to come, at what cost is it to this country? So government needs to check itself. There is something that has gone fundamentally wrong, and it has to be readdressed. Once it is readdressed, I'll take you back to 1981. Businesses paid, in fact, they were ready to pay double what the government of Shehu Shagari paid. They want 25 naira. Businesses were ready to double that because there was productive capacity. Nigeria's size has not changed since then. The economy, we are told, is the biggest in Africa. At that time, the economy was not the biggest in Africa. Today is the biggest in Africa, with a huge internal market, with a captive regional market. All government needs to do is crank it, and this elephant will get up. It will move. It will carry everybody along. But at the moment, we are talking about symptoms and we are treating symptoms. Government needs to check itself why is business space is shutting down. So once that is done, we are good to go. There is, in fact, there is both latent and manifest capacity, Dr. Bati.
Well, sir, Mr. Bayo Ononuga has issued a statement saying that you people are politicians,
okay, thank you very
not
much.
labor leaders. He says.
Wait. Thank you very much for that prompter. Well, I do not intend to go personal. I've responded to Bayo Nanuga. I used to think of him much more highly than I do now, because now he resorts to base argument. The right to hold a political opinion is guaranteed by our Constitution and a Supreme Court pronouncement. Barrister Bati, you're acutely aware of that. I'm not sure Labour people are excluded from that right. That is my first position. Secondly, we actually promoted a political party, and it has been consistent with our history. We fought in the front lines to ensure this country obtained its independence. Pai Modu was in London as part of the independence talks. In the military era, with all due respect, we were in the trenches for the military to stand. The military said, okay, we are going to have a democracy where we are the Bayo Nanugas of this world. Even as we speak now, we are the only reliable voice that can speak to power at the risk to our lives. Okay? So we have been consistent from pre-independence to military era and to a democratic era. This is not the first time we are taking on a government. Right from 1999, presidency of Chief Obasanjo, we engaged consistently. We engaged Yaradua. We engaged Jonathan. You recall January 2012. So all of that, Bayo didn't see political sentiments. I want to assure you, speaking directly, that we have no political sentiments. Our sentiments in this matter are pure, patriotic, and in the interest of this country. Let me tell you, a few days ago, the leadership of NLC and TUC came back from Kebbi State. They went to celebrate with an APC government. On his inauguration, we were there. A year ago, we were there. Before then, we campaigned for him because he embodies our ideals. He pursues our ideals, policies that are consistent with our ideological beliefs and so on and so forth. I say this live on live television, live feed. Let me tell you, Governor Oti of Abia State, if he does anything, Governor Oti, who won the election on the platform of Labour Party, if he does anything that is at variance with our beliefs, we will disown him. If we caution him and he fails to change, we will disown him. So ours is not about labels. Ours are impregnable, inalienable ideological beliefs, issues that are consistent with uplifting what we call the national interest and protecting the poor. So, but then scoundrels will always resort to ethnicity, partisan politics, and religion.
All right, thank you.
I rest my case.
Thank you, Mr. Opa. Now, I hear you when you talk about you're working for the interests of the people, the country, and especially the most vulnerable. But then what would you respond to the Honorable Minister of State for Labour, where she says that by this action, you're impoverishing Nigerians. You're putting Nigerians, a lot of Nigerians are suffering. People are plunged into poverty. People who depend on their daily livelihood, who now have to shut down or down their tools, are suffering. So you are impoverishing the same people that you say that you are defending. I'd like you to respond to that, to that statement on that. Is that, are you cutting off your nose to spite your face?
Well, let me be emphatic about this once again. And I go back in history. When it was decided that sanctions be applied against Southern Rhodesia and South Africa, Margaret Thatcher, Prime Minister of Britain, as she then was, said sanctions were going to hurt the ordinary people. But of course, people saw through the facade of her argument, and sanctions were imposed. And we had an independent Zimbabwe in 19 79, 80 under the leadership of General Obasanjo as he then was. Nigeria went to also lend the same support in Angola, Mozambique, and the rest. So when people now talk that our strike is going to hurt the people, I begin to marvel. The people or the institutions that have been hurting the people are the governments. Or let me reduce it to, is the government. All that we're trying to do, all that we've been trying to do is to ensure that there is a cure. Okay? We are not the ones hurting the people. It is the government that has been hurting the people. And let me also say this. Going back, we were reviewing certain video clips, and we came across this one, where Mr. President, during his electioneering campaign, did say he was going to reduce the capacity of the people. He was going to raise taxes. He was going to raise the purchasing power of the people. Up to this very moment, we still marvel what his intentions are. Because it looks like what is going on is a premeditated action to punish the people. It is not us who are punishing the people. It is the fundamentalists, it is the fundamentalist labor reforms of this administration.
Okay, sir. I mean, I was excited when you mentioned Modu. In fact, I was just looking at the newspaper portion where he was released after 2 years in incarceration, and God bless his memory. But I'd like to ask you this as we wrap up. Is it the $100 mark for minimum wage or less than that? That would be a good deal for labor?
You know, there is something I like about you. I'm sorry I have to say this on air. You are Larry King, Stephen Sakor, because you do your research work. You go to the archives, you read. You don't just begin to, so $100, $125, $150, but certainly not anything less than $100, Dr. Bati.
Okay. Thank you so much for the threshold.
Thank you, Mr. Benson Opa, for joining.
When you look at all of this, the environment becomes highly toxic for business. And instantly, manufacturers say, look, our warehouses are overflowing. But I tell you, that is even the tip of the iceberg. In the coming weeks or in the coming months, there'll be more consequences. Okay? So why is government obsessed with extreme market reforms that do not benefit anybody, not even the business sector? Government is not concerned about taking care of the business sector at home. It's concerned chasing outside investors. Foreign direct investment from outside, I mean that comes at a huge cost. Why would the government not intervene on behalf of big business and small business? The MOU we signed with government on the 2nd of October 2023, we said government should intervene, should take necessary steps to help businesses grow here. But government has taken decisions that are at variance with a commitment it made in writing. So government did all of this by fiat. So it can also take a decision today and say, look, we have decided to retrace our steps. We are no longer taking dictations from the IMF or the World Bank. This has not paid off. We do not manufacture or sell anything other than crude oil. So we should create value around the naira, and it stays.
Okay.
I'm sure that sounds crude to the ears of economists.
Mr. Opa, I mean, I'm excited. You know, we had our Higridi Bigidi the last time you were here. I'm excited for some of the arguments you're making.
Yes.
And I support most of your arguments. In fact, let me make some arguments better for you. As regards the electricity tariff, in Ghana currently, the Ghanaians are revolting as regards a 4% increase in the electricity tariff. But this government gave us well over 50% electricity tariff increase. So that's to make your argument better for you. It doesn't mean we'll not say disagree. We'll disagree this morning, no. But let me make it better for you first. So you are right and spot on that.
Thank you very much. Thank you, Doctor.
Yeah. So
guys, it will shock you to know that these people, you think they are your leaders. They sit down to tell you that they make laws. They make laws for their own benefits. not for the benefits of the Nigerian people. You can imagine how they passed the law, to introduce the old national anthem without addressing the challenges of the Nigerian people. And you call these ones leaders? That is the question. You call them leaders. They are self-centered people. When one is self-centered, the person is not qualified to be a leader. You have seen it for yourself. Let me know what you think about this in the comment section below. Please don't forget to subscribe to the channel and turn on the notification bell. Thank you.